Hello, in this video I will once and for all answer the question if humans are carnivores or not. As you can see, I'm a raw carnivore myself, so let's get right into it. First thing, we have hunter eyes. You can look at the human, you can look at the cheetah, the wolf and the lion. What do they all have in common? They have front-facing eyes. Well, why would a carnivore have front-facing eyes? Because that allows them to see the animal that they want to hunt a lot better. A cheetah will look at an animal and run straight at it, while a human will go and, take his rifle or take a spear, take his bow and kill it that way. But every animal that has front-facing hunter eyes is a predator, therefore an animal that kills other animals, and therefore a carnivore. This, on the other hand, are prey eyes. That is not what we have. You can see the goat, you can see the deer. They all have, the sheep, they all have eyes on the side of their head. Why is that? Well, they have eyes with a lot of peripheral vision to look out, because they are always on the lookout for predators hunting them. They are in defense mode and escape mode all the time, while we are in hunting mode, and that is why we have front-facing eyes. We also have a very acidic stomach. Our stomach is made out of hydrochloric acid. And that, as you can see in this chart here, is very acidic. We have a more acidic stomach than cats and lions. And the more acidic your stomach is, the more of a predator, the more of a hunter you are. Because the higher the stomach acidity is, the higher the level of hydrochloric acid in your body is, the more your body is designed to eat meat. So if you go by this rule, we are more of a predator, more of a hunter than even a lion. Next, we have a throwing arm. No other animal has a throwing arm. It doesn't matter how big you are, how strong you are. You can throw a stone further than any monkey ever could. You can throw it harder and further than a silverback gorilla. Because you're meant to do it. Your body is made to do it. Here on the left, you can see a person. This is the modern example, basically, of a person's throwing. Of a person using our throwing arm. On the right, though, you can see what our throwing arm is actually meant to do, which is to, throw a spear or throw a stone at a bird or something like that. The fact that we have a throwing arm tells you that we are meant to kill. There's no other reason why it would have developed. Next, our brains were bigger when we ate more meat. You can see here, the human brain was larger 10,000 years ago and has been decreasing in size for the last 10,000 years. And that trend began when agriculture emerged. So basically when the agricultural revolution happened about 10 to 12,000 years ago. And what basically happened is the Younger Dryas happened, which is a significant historical event where a lot of large land animals died. And those were the exact animals that the human race hunted. So suddenly, because of the Younger Dryas, we didn't have those large creatures that we could hunt and kill. So then, there was not enough meat for all of humanity to survive. And that is why we then created agriculture to survive. And we can be thankful for that, because that secured the survival of the human race. But at the same time, it came at a cost. And that cost was that our brain shrunk and our bones and our bodies in general got weaker and smaller. So this tells us that with a diet that would be higher in meat, we would be a lot more well developed and our brains would be bigger. Next, plant fibers are indigestible. You cannot digest plant fibers whatsoever. If you eat 100 grams of plant fibers, you will shit out 100 grams of plant fibers, because we simply do not have any enzymes to digest plants. For example, when a cow eats a lot of grass, then the plant fiber in the grass will be turned into fatty acids in the stomach of the cow. But we do not have those enzymes, and that tells you that humans are not meant to eat plants. Next, all plants are man-made. You can see these many examples here, you know, how lemons looked before, how watermelons and bananas looked before humans genetically engineered them. And many people don't know this, but cabbage, you know, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all those vegetables that are supposedly so natural, they all come from the same plant. As you can see, they all were selectively bred, you know, selectively bred for the stem, selectively bred for the leaves. They never existed in nature. So when a vegan comes to you and claims, oh, what I'm eating is so natural, it's all comes from nature, then you can tell them, no, it all comes from the same plant. It all was genetically engineered by humans. There's nothing natural about it. It's all fucking man-made stuff. Next, plants are trying to kill you. That might sound very crazy to you, and it's not this plant trying to shoot you, but plants have defense chemicals called anti-nutrients. You know, a couple examples are phytic acid, lectins, tannins, you know, oxalates and so on, but there's also phytoestrogens and many more. And what they do is basically they disrupt your digestion. And for example, if you eat a steak and some seeds or grains, if you eat those two things together, then all the nutrients from the steak that you would have gotten, you know, all the iron, zinc, magnesium and so on, you suddenly do not get. Because, for example, the phytic acid in seeds would block the absorption. And that is, of course, bad, because then you don't get the nutrients and you will be nutrient deficient. But that is the defensive strategy of the plant. Think about it. If an animal is attacked, you know, by another animal, then it can just fight back or run away. But what can a plant do? A plant cannot run away, and it can also not fight back. So a plant defends itself by poisoning you with anti-nutrients. And yes, there are animals that have specific enzymes to get rid of these anti-nutrients, but like we pointed out before, humans do not have those enzymes, we cannot digest those fibers and so on, and that's why we are carnivores, entirely not designed to eat any plants. Next, meat is the most nutritious food. As you can see, this is a ribeye, you know, there's beef liver and there are eggs. Those are actually the most nutritious food. As you can see, if you eat just 100 grams of beef liver, you get 5.5 times the amount of vitamin A that you need per day. So it only takes, you know, like a very small amount of beef liver or even a steak to get what you need. And also those nutrients are a lot more bioavailable than any plant could ever be. And this is the most prominent vegan doctor. Nothing much to say, you know. And those are the most prominent carnivores. I guess the results speak for themselves. If you like this video, then please watch another one and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you then. Bye bye.